How to get into uni as a mature student. This podcast is for mature students in the UK who are ready to take their journey into a new career. If you have settled, pre-settled status, have a home for Ukraine BRP, or are British, listen to our podcast to learn more about new opportunities.
Hey everyone, thinking about heading to the UK for that bachelor's degree. Exciting, right?
Huge step.
But I bet you're probably wondering about the whole student loan thing.
Yeah, especially the repayment part. It can seem a bit confusing.
Totally. But that's why we're here today, diving deep into this guide to demystify UK student loans.
We're focusing on British citizens, EU settled and pre-settled residents, and those on the Ukrainian scheme.
Exactly. And by the end of this, you'll have all the info you need to plan for your education and future. No more mysteries.
Exactly. We want you to feel confident about making those big decisions.
Okay, so first things first. Repaying your student loan in the UK isn't a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. There's actually a lot of flexibility, and it all depends on a couple of key things.
Like what?
Well, mainly your income and the specific loan plan you're on.
Ah, so there are different plans.
There are. You've got Plan 1, Plan 2, Plan 4, and Plan 5, plus the postgraduate loan.
Wow. Okay, so a few options then. So let's say you've just graduated, landed a job making maybe £26,000 a year. Would you have to start repaying your loan right away? Say if you were on Plan 2.
That's a great question. And actually the answer is no.
Oh, really? Why not?
Well, there's this thing called a threshold. Basically, you only start making repayments once your income goes above a certain level.
Go like a grace period while you're getting started.
Exactly. It gives you some breathing room.
I like the sound of that. So for Plan 2, what's that magic number? When do those repayments actually kick in?
For Plan 2, the threshold is set at £27,295 per year. That's roughly £2,274 a month, or about £524 a week.
So in that scenario, earning £26,000, you'd be in the clear.
Exactly. No repayments just yet.
Phew, that's good to know. What about the other plans, though? Do they all have different thresholds, too?
They do. Plan 1, for example, has a slightly lower threshold. It's set at £24,990 per year.
Interesting. So you might start repaying a bit sooner with that one.
I got it. That's £2,082 per month, or £480 a week.
Okay, so you've got Plan 1 and Plan 2. What about Plan 4?
That one's a bit higher. The threshold is $31,395 annually for Plan 4.
Makes sense. Probably good for those landing a higher-paying job right out of uni.
Exactly. You get some extra breathing room. It's $2,616 a month, or if you prefer, £603 a week.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's Plan 1, 2, and 4. We're missing 2, right? Plan 5 and the postgraduate loan.
Right. Plan 5 is pretty close to Plan 1, actually. The threshold is £25,000 per year.
Okay, so in the same ballpark.
Yep. That's $2,083 monthly, or £480 weekly.
What about the postgraduate loan? I'd imagine that's a bit different, right? Since it's for further studies.
It is a bit different. The threshold is actually lower for that one. It's £21,000 per year, which means you'd start repaying sooner compared to the other plans.
Okay, makes sense.
To break it down, that's about £750 each month, or £403 per week.
So even though you might be earning a bit more with a postgraduate degree, you gotta factor in those earlier repayments.
Right. It's all about having the full picture.
Okay, so let's fast forward a bit. You've landed that awesome job, you're exceeding the threshold, and repayments are officially on the horizon. How much are we talking about here? Is it like a scary chunk of your income?
Not at all. It's actually pretty manageable.
Oh, good.
It's calculated as a percentage of your earnings above the threshold. For plans 1, 2, 4, and 5, it's 9%.
Okay, 9%. Gotcha.
And for the postgraduate loan, it's a bit lower at 6%.
So even if you're doing well, the actual amount you're paying back each month shouldn't feel overwhelming.
Exactly. The system is really designed to be affordable, so you can build your life without feeling buried in debt.
That makes sense. So how about we look at some examples, see how this actually works in practice?
Sounds good. Examples are always helpful, right?
Totally. I know when I was first figuring all this out, seeing the numbers really made it click.
I agree. So let's say you're on Plan 1 and earning £33,000 a year. That means your monthly income is £2,750. Remember, the Plan 1 threshold is £2,082 a month.
So you're exceeding it by, let's see, £668.
Yep. And since the repayment rate for Plan 1 is 9%, we just apply that to the $668.
Easy enough. So what would the actual monthly repayment be in that case?
Let's do the math. 9% of £668 is £60.12, which gets rounded down to £60 for your monthly repayment.
Not too bad. Seems pretty reasonable, right?
Definitely manageable.
Okay, that's plan 1. What about someone on a different plan, say plan 4?
All right, let's say they're earning £36,000 annually. So that's £3,000 a month.
And the plan 4 threshold was?
$2,616 monthly.
Right, so they're exceeding it by?
384 max.
Okay, so £384. We take that, apply the 9% repayment rate for plan 4, and what do we get?
Their monthly repayment would be £34.56, which we'd round down to £34.
Again, not too shabby.
Nope, very manageable.
I think these examples really highlight how even though you have these loans, they're structured to let you manage your finances.
Exactly.
It's all about informed decisions, knowing what to expect, and not letting the numbers scare you away from your dream career.
Well said. It's about finding that balance,
Sure.
and realizing that a degree can be a fantastic investment.
Absolutely, even with the loans.
Right. Speaking of which, we should probably address the elephant in the room.
Oh, what's that?
Fluctuating incomes.
Ah, yeah. That's real life, isn't it?
It is. Not everyone has that steady paycheck every month.
Nope. Bonuses, overtime, freelance gigs. It can be a bit of a roller coaster. So how does the repayment system handle all that? Does it become a headache?
It's actually surprisingly flexible. You don't have to make repayments every single month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you only repay when your income for that specific month or week goes over the threshold for your loan plan.
Okay, that makes sense. So like if you have a slower month, you get a bit of a break.
Exactly, which
Yeah.
can be super helpful if you're juggling other expenses.
Definitely.
And here's something even better. If your total income for the entire year ends up being below the annual threshold,
Yeah.
you can actually request a refund for any repayments you made during the year.
Whoa, hold on. A refund? Seriously?
Seriously.
That's amazing, like a safety net, right?
Exactly. It takes away some of that stress, especially if your income is a bit up and down.
Huge. I love that. Okay, so we've covered thresholds, calculations, income changes. What about interest rates?
Ah, yes. Interest rates. That's a big one.
Right.
And again, it can vary a bit depending on which loan plan you're on.
Makes sense.
So for plans 1, 4, and 5, you have a fixed interest rate.
Fixed? Okay. What's the rate?
4.3%.
4.2%. Okay. Straightforward enough.
Yep. And then for postgraduate loans, slightly higher, 7.3%.
Okay, so those are pretty clear. But I have a feeling plan 2 is where things get a bit...
A bit more interesting.
Exactly.
You're right. Plan 2 actually has a variable interest rate,
Oh.
and it's tied to your income.
Oh, okay. So how does that work?
So there's a tiered system. If you're earning £28,470 or less per year, the interest rate stays at that 4.3%.
Okay, 4.3%. Got it.
But once you start earning more than that,
Things change.
things change. Between $28,400, $71,000, and $51,245, the rate becomes 4.3% plus an additional amount, up to 3%.
So it could go up to 7.3%.
It could, yeah. Depends where you are in that income bracket.
Got it.
And then if you're earning $51,245 or more,
Yeah.
the interest rate is fixed at 7.3%.
Okay, so definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you're on plan 2 and you expect your income to keep growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Important to factor that in when you're planning long term.
Sure. Okay, so let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about those who might have more than one loan. Like someone who did a master's after their bachelor's.
Okay. Yeah.
Do they end up juggling separate repayments? Or is it different?
It's actually designed to be pretty simple. So
Sure.
let's say you have a postgraduate loan and a Plan 2 loan.
Yeah.
You wouldn't make separate repayments. They're combined.
Combined. So like one big loan repayment?
Exactly.
That's way easier than keeping track of 2 separate payments.
Right. But there is a little catch.
Uh-oh. Catch. What's the catch?
It all comes down to those thresholds we talked about.
Ah, okay.
The repayment for your combined loans is calculated based on your income and the lowest threshold out of all your loans.
So if the postgraduate loan has a lower threshold than the Plan 2 loan, that's the one that matters.
Exactly. You'd start making repayments as soon as your income hits that lower threshold.
Got it.
And another thing, you wouldn't be making separate repayments at 6% and 9%, for each individual loan. It's a combined percentage that's applied to your income above that lowest threshold.
Okay, interesting. So how do they calculate that combined percentage? Do they have any examples?
They do. They have an example in the guide here. Let's say someone's earning £28,800 a year, which is £2,400 a month. They've got a postgraduate loan and a Plan 2 loan.
Okay, so their income is definitely over both thresholds.
It is. So for the postgraduate loan, they're £650 above that £750 monthly threshold.
Right.
So with that 6% repayment rate for postgraduate loans, their monthly repayment for that loan would be $39.
Okay, $39 makes sense. What about the Plan 2 loan?
For that one, they're $126,000 above the $2,274 monthly threshold. With the 9% rate for Plan 2, that's another £11.34 per month, which we round down to £11.
Okay, so their total monthly repayment would be
£50.
£50.
Yeah.
Even with 2 loans, it's still manageable.
Exactly. That's the point. It's designed to work for you.
Seeing these examples really makes it clear. It doesn't have to be this big, scary thing.
Not at all.
Okay, before we wrap up this section, there's one more group we need to chat about. The self-employed.
Ah, yes. Good point.
Their income situation can be quite different. So how does it work for them?
So instead of making those regular monthly payments, their repayments are actually calculated based on their annual income,
Okay, based on their annual income. Got it.
which they report on their tax return.
Right, makes sense. So they just wait till tax season and figure it out then.
Well, the HMRC, the UK's tax authority, they actually do the calculating for them.
Oh, okay.
Based on the self-assessment tax return, they figure out the total amount owed for the whole year.
So it's like the HMRC is the student loan accountant.
Pretty much.
That's pretty cool, actually. But what if they've already made some payments during the year from, say, a previous salary before going self-employed?
Great question. The system takes those previous payments into account and deducts them from the final amount owed.
So it all balances out in the end.
Exactly. It's all reconciled at the end of the tax year, so it's fair and accurate.
Love that. Seems like they really try to accommodate different situations.
They do. It's all about making things as smooth as possible for everyone.
Okay, so we've been deep in the weeds of repayment, but let's zoom out a bit. Back to you, the listener, thinking about getting that bachelor's degree.
Right.
Why is all this info so important?
Because it's about feeling confident. Knowing how the UK student loan system works can make a huge difference when you're planning for your education and your career.
Absolutely. I remember when I was applying, the money part felt like a big mystery. It can be pretty daunting.
It can be.
Yeah.
But once you break it down, understand the system, you realize it's designed to be manageable. And knowing their options, like deferment, until your income goes up, it can take a lot of pressure off.
For sure. So much better to know what to expect.
Exactly.
All right, well, I think we've covered a lot of ground here, lots to process.
We have.
So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll explore some of the resources and support systems out there to help you navigate all of this.
You are listening to the How to Get Into a Uni as a Mature Student podcast. And if you like it, please subscribe and recommend it to your friends.
Okay, we're back. Feeling a lot more knowledgeable about UK student loans now. But sometimes you need more than just facts and figures.
You're right. Sometimes you need a bit of extra help. Someone to guide you through it all.
Totally. So what kind of support is out there? Where should someone even start?
Well, first and foremost, there are student advisors.
Student advisors.
Yep. They're specifically there to help prospective students like yourself navigate the whole process.
So like actual people who are experts in this stuff.
Exactly.
That's awesome. What kind of things can they help with?
Oh, all sorts of things. The application process, understanding student finance, figuring out what kind of learning options work best for you.
So they're like a one-stop shop for all your uni questions.
Pretty much.
That's so helpful.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else they suggest?
They also strongly recommend checking out the UK government website.
Okay, the government website.
It's got tons of info on student finance.
Yeah.
Everything you need, really. All the details on those repayment plans we discussed earlier.
I bet that website can be a bit overwhelming, though.
It can be, yeah. But they actually offer webinars and free consultations.
Wait, free consultations?
Free!
That's incredible. You can just chat with an expert and get all your questions answered.
Yep.
Wow. Seems like they're really going above and beyond to help people out.
They are. They want to make sure everyone feels comfortable and informed.
I love that. So as we wrap up, I want to ask, thinking about everything we've talked about today,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the idea of studying in the UK now?
You know, what strikes me is how much support there is. The repayment system, the resources, those advisors, it all shows they want you to succeed.
Absolutely. It's not about saddling you with debt. It's about helping you achieve your goals.
Exactly. It's about empowering you, not holding you back.
Totally. So to everyone out there thinking about taking that leap, what do we say?
Go for it
Embrace the challenge, seek out that support.
and take that first step.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into UK student loans. We hope you found it helpful and empowering.
And most of all, encouraging.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
Thank you for listening. Connect to our student advisors for a free consultancy and help with your paperwork. Check the link in the description to this episode.